tons of stuff to cover today, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And I just want to thank everybody for coming. This was something that was kind of new that I had talked with Dennis Powers many years ago when he first started talking about having an auction, and I told him, gosh, what an opportunity to have all your collection together. What an opportunity to have a tractor school, so everybody can be exposed to things, and he thought that was a great idea, and so that's a big part of the reason why we're doing this. But we were really excited, humbled, and scared at the response we got. I mean, it was great. We had almost 250 people respond, and we actually shut registration off about a month ago because that's how much room we had. So we didn't want to have people standing, but around 250 people from 22 states and Canada. So that was really great. It caught us off guard, but we're real excited about that. We like to see the enthusiasm for it. Hey, today we have got a great group of guys here to talk. They are inside the front cover of your little hymnal that we gave out there. Just going to kind of give you a rundown of what to expect today before we get started. We've got classes from the basics to advanced. I mean, beginner to veteran. Okay, and we've tried purposely to be broad because we've got all experience levels in the room. Don't be too disappointed if you think something's too basic, or don't be too disappointed if you don't know what somebody's talking about, because we want to stretch you just a little bit, because that's how you learn. We've talked for several years about doing a tractor school, kind of like a steam school, but with gas tractors, and we've seen the interest grow in the hobby. I mean, it's we've seen renewed interest in steam. We've seen renewed interest in pre-30 tractors, unstyled tractors that had kind of been in a slump for a while, and honestly, the internet has caused a lot of that growth. I have a love-hate relationship with social media and the internet sometimes, but what it has done that is a positive is it's exposed things to a whole lot more people than what we could ever do at tractor shows. And it's got a lot of young people excited about the hobby. Now what they're learning online is not what they can learn in person and with a mentor at a tractor show, but that's the way we get them there. So I certainly don't want to give anybody in the room any idea that you're going to leave here in one day knowing how to run any gas tractor that you come across, okay? Because that's not the case. I don't want any false pretense on that. But just out of curiosity, how many in the room have been playing with this stuff for over 20 years? All right. How many have been playing with this stuff for under 10 years? So it's about a third, and about half over 10 years, and about a third half over 20 years, a third under 10 years. So what that does is that gives all you people under 20 years, it gives you an opportunity to hang with those people that have been doing this for over 20 years, and that's where you learn. You get together and exchange ideas and say, well, how do you do this and how do you do that? And that's just how you learn is through experience, and you're sitting amongst a whole lot of experience. So anyhow, let's get into things here. Where did tractor schools even come from? In 1919, they say that was the year of the tractor because there were 328 tractor manufacturers in the United States alone. In 1910, there were 20,000 tractors produced. 1918, 140,000, and by 1920, 1.4 million. Now that's a pretty bizarre statistic right there. But you got to think what was going on too. Commodity prices were super high following World War II, or World War I. I'm sorry. And so there was tons of demand, and we were kind of going through that industrial revolution in the United States where all this new technology was coming along. And there were tons of different tractor designs, and they were trying just absolutely everything. And this is what always fascinated me about that era of tractors, because somebody was sitting with a piece of paper and saying, I'll bet this would be a good idea. And they didn't have anything to go from. They did. Whoops, sorry about that. They didn't have anything to go off of, so they didn't really know what they didn't know. So those very first tractors, started out as basically gas engines mounted on frames. Okay, so it was basically a self-propelled gas engine. This is one of my most favorite paradoxes. A D.M. Hartsoe was a tractor designer. P.J. Lyons was a promoter. Okay, the two of them were hooked up from about I don't know exactly how long their relationship was, but the tractors I've got pictured from 1908 to about 1914. Hartsoe, he had idea diarrhea when it came to tractors, because he probably engineered I'm going to say 20 different tractors. Okay, they engineered these tractors together in 1908 and 1914. Now that bottom tractor is an Emerson Branningham Big 420. Okay, that had an inline 4-cylinder engine with a conventional tractor design. That same basic design, still being produced today. Okay, now from 1915 to 1920, they produced the Lion tractor and the Bull tractor. They kind of went backwards in a big way. But I mean, that's testament to people didn't really know what was going to work. I mean, we can sit here now and judge them off of that bottom tractor and say, wow, boy, they were on top of it. But they didn't know. They didn't know they were on top of it. They didn't know that was a design that was going to stand for 100 years. So they decided that they'd put a bad two-cylinder engine in an even worse tractor and try to sell it. And the Lion tractor, that'll be on display tonight, so you can go over there and see it. And I want you to just stand by that tractor and think about farming with it, because there was always a story that I always loved. It was one of the very first Classic Tractor Fever videos when they used to do those calendars, and they were interviewing two brothers that bought a Moline Universal brand spanking new. And so the first brother says, oh yeah, he says, boy, the first week we had that tractor, we raced each other up in the morning to see who got the tractor. And the second week we raced each other up to see who got the horses. But this is, I'm just going to flip through. These are all tractor designs. This is probably the most optimistic human on the face of this earth, with a 6-bottom plow on this rig. That was a Hackney. That was bi-directional. You could drive it one way and then turn the seat around and drive it the other way. So when they came out with a bi-directional tractor, that had already been done. These were some of my ancestors that tried to figure. They hadn't figured out the drive shaft from the horse to the engine yet. That was an early row crop tractor. Who came up with that? Rumley. 4-wheel drive Olmsted. I'm showing you these so you can see all the different designs and thoughts. This York tractor is out in the Hoot building. I want you to look at that. That one you had to reverse the engine to go in reverse. Yeah, that was a great idea. I like this tractor. But check out that was the only tractor designed like that. I have no idea what they were thinking on that. Roy Townsend decided, hey, let's make it look like a steam engine because they're already comfortable with a steam engine. And then they said, well, yeah, well, they're comfortable with using reins to drive it too, which if anybody's ever seen one of those operate, that's accident waiting to happen. Then there's the Ford tractor, which was the purpose of the Nebraska tractor test because it was so bad. Where's the Jansons at? So the Jansen brothers, was it your grandpa that had one of these? So it did a good thing because now the entire Jansen family are mechanics. Which, if anybody's got a Ford tractor, Carl would he would probably trade a farm all in for it right now. So, yeah. So, if the designers were confused on tractors, just stop and think how a farmer felt, because he was sitting there at home listening to the radio, getting his news from the newspaper. And maybe if he was real interested in this, he got a subscription to Farm Mechanics magazine and read through all this. So, getting into the mind of that farmer, there were just 2% of farmers in 1910 that even had 2% of people in general that had electricity. Only 35% for at 1920. So even electricity was brand new technology. So these tractors were brand new, and I mean, you just got to stop and think. They had no idea how to even use them. They know they needed to. It's kind of like the computer revolution, I still don't completely understand Insta Twitter book, So just think what they were feeling. I mean, most of them didn't even get the concept of internal combustion. So Advance Rumley saw this real early on. And they used their dealer network to have those schools, and it was a big deal for them to go to those schools. I mean, they had movies, and which was new technology then too, and they literally would tear tractors apart and teach them how to work on them and how they worked. There's a really great story that an early collector told me. There was a 1525 Fairbanks, which I think Paul Stolfus owns now, that Bill Tishner bought in the late 50s, and he bought it off the original owners. There was two bachelor brothers that bought this tractor brand spanking new. When Bill bought it, it still had paint between the part numbers on the lugs. Had not been used because these two brothers had bought this tractor. It had the match head strike start on it. You know what I'm talking about? So the Fairbanks guy comes out, puts ether in, puts the match heads in the striker, hits the striker, tractor starts up. The brothers were completely amazed. Fairbanks guy leaves. They go out to the tractor to start it the next day. They put some ether in it. They put the match heads in it. They hit it. Nothing happens. So they put more ether in it, more match heads in it, hit the striker. When it lit, it stretched the head bolts on the tractor. So they call Fairbanks. Fairbanks comes out and fixes the tractor. They were so scared of it, they pushed it in the barn, and that was it. That's how Bill found that tractor. So I mean, just to get in the mindset of those early guys, there is more than one story like that where they bought the tractor and it was either too complicated to figure out, or it scared them so bad they just left it in the barn. That's everybody's dream, but that happened. So Advance Rumley had these huge schools, and they were all over the nation, teaching people how to run a Rumley tractor. And of course that was a huge advantage for them. That was a big advantage for them because that may be part of why there's more Rumleys and pre-30 tractors than a lot of other brands. I mean, that was pretty good marketing and strategy on their part. So then other tractor schools, popped up all over the country, kind of like trade schools. They were done by manufacturers and colleges and private trade schools. There were correspondence courses, but imagine the learning curve with all that. I mean, it was just pretty fascinating. But there's a lot of neat yard-long photographs because they'd have tractors of all the different manufacturers lined up, and that way they could expose the students to more brands. So anyhow, today you're going to learn some basics, on engine design, and you're going to get into some restoration tips and mechanical tips. So you're going to learn some fundamentals, how to effectively and safely run. Most any tractor is through experience. So like I said, so you're surrounded by experience this weekend. So, talk to somebody you don't know, get to know them. That's what this is all about. You learn from each other, and most importantly, just ask questions. There's nobody here to judge you, okay? I'm just laying that out right now. I want everybody to feel safe asking any kind of question they want to ask. Nobody's going to make fun of you. You're not going to get roasted online by some idiot and it's sitting in his mama's basement, okay? So, you all know what I'm talking about, right? So have a good time and learn and have fun. I mean, that is absolutely positively what it's about.